I'm going to call this episode Dying with Dognity because I'm never too tired or too sad to be a complete cheeseball.
Everything bothers him.
He's unbothered.
He calls it unbothered, but that's what's cute because everything bothers him. He's bothered. I'm a botherina.
What's up, everybody? Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. We're going to start this episode by summoning the spirit of Snoopy Bijou, my one and only producer. I'm I didn't realize that would make me feel anything. I guess say I'm gonna try to keep it together, and I think I'm gonna do a good job. I just didn't realize that would like saying it when she's gone is obviously much different. And today was the day, and I felt like I should record this because something in me wouldn't let me do the other stuff that I had to do today. I put out 2 videos on YouTube because I feel like I owe it to her and her memory to be as productive as I possibly can, since she obviously took herself out of my way for whatever reason. I don't know why God, the universe, or she decided that it was time to go, because I would think about it a lot, because if somebody's dying, and I do see her as a person, so I will say somebody or not something, but if somebody's dying, then I think it's natural to think about what the upside is. And maybe not everybody's like that, but to me, that makes sense. You think like, oh, I'll be able to do this or I'll be able to do that finally now that, I'm free to do whatever I want. I don't have this responsibility anymore. But I can honestly tell you guys that there is not a single thing that I couldn't do with Bijou. Now, when she's down like she has been for the last month and a half or whatever it's been, it's, yeah, then I couldn't do certain things, but I was fine with that. And I had told her I was fine with that. I would talk to her so much. And that's why I'm obviously hurting because I'm going to miss her. But I don't have the guilt that I had maybe 2 episodes when I was talking about that. I don't have that anymore because I feel like I really did do everything I could possibly do for her. And it was like taking her from being a baby, because I got her when she was 6 weeks old, which I know you're supposed to get them at 8 weeks, but I didn't know that at the time. She's the first time I ever had a dog as an adult, as like a full grown adult. And so I didn't know that you were supposed to wait until 8 weeks. The guy told me she was 6 weeks. I bought her out of a box. If you guys don't know the story, I bought her out of a box in South Phoenix. And she was $50. And I would always tell her, all through her life, I would tell her that she was the best $50 I ever spent. And I would tell her, because, I always talk to her like a person. And so I would tell her, you're the best $50 I ever spent, Bijou, and I spent a lot of $50 in my life. And I would tell her just like that. And you don't have to correct me on the way I speak. It was just me being cute with my girl. And I always was happy to have her. And so you think about the things that you could do without something, without that responsibility. But there was nothing that I felt like I couldn't do. And when it came to taking care of her in this part of her life, I told her, if you want to stick around forever, I'll have you around forever. I want you. I don't want you to go anywhere. And then last night, Thursday we had a really good day, where it was like she had that it got off to a rough start, but then by Thursday night she had turned it around. And that's when I made the appointment for this coming Thursday, because I thought in the morning that she was doing bad enough that I was going to have to put her down. And so I was like, because I called them, I called the vet and I told them that, I thought it was time. And I was like, give me an appointment for as soon as possible. And they were like, we can do tomorrow at 11:30. And I was like, let's make it for next Thursday. And so she had a moment where she really turned it around. It seemed like she was turning it around. And I even caught her standing at one point, and I got a picture of it. And I of course told her to get down right away because I didn't want her to hurt herself or wear herself out. Um, and then Friday was okay, but I could notice her fading on Saturday. And I was being really extra nice to her because what happened is, what I was going to say a second ago was, I really feel like I got to take her from being a baby to being an adult. And when she was an adult, I would talk to her like an adult, I mean, like she was just my best friend. And so, it'd be like when you guys would see my videos and I'd be like, come on, Bijou, or like the things I would say to her. I treated her very much like my equal. And I would tell her all the time that she keeps things together around here. She is the brains in this outfit. She is the one that runs the house, and we go by Bijou's rules. And I really did feel that way because I feel like, with the amount that I have to work at different points and then me going on the road sometimes, and yeah, sometimes I'd bring her with me, but sometimes she would stay and, somebody would watch her. And so I really always felt like any place that I lived was more hers than it was mine because she was there when I wouldn't be. She was there all the time, unless we went and ran an errand together, which when she got older, she didn't really like that anymore. She didn't really want to do that stuff. And I didn't blame her and I didn't force her. I would still ask her if she wanted to go with me places, but a lot of times she'd just be like, nah, like give me a look like I'm good right here. And so, but then she got to this point, and I was just holding out hope that she was just going to go back to just normal Bijou. And then there was a point when I realized that probably wasn't going to happen. So then at that point, she became my actual baby again, And I was super, super nice to her. I mean, like, I'm sure I got on her nerves because, she's like, I'm a grown woman and you're talking to me like I'm a baby all the time. But it's just because I felt like cheering her on for everything, I wanted her to know that everything she was doing was perfect. It was, if she could potty, then great. If she can't potty, then cool too. We'll come back down later, I would tell her when we were outside, because it, like, on the instructions for if a dog has IVDD, which is what I wanted to believe she had, but when I said last week that the vet gave me bad news, it was the second time anybody had told me that it's more than likely a tumor, a brain tumor, because of her symptoms and the way that half of her body was like pretty completely not working. But I mean, like, she would gaslight me because like she would give me signs sometimes and she'd use her back paw as a flipper and stuff, and then we'd get to the doctors and suddenly she wouldn't do anything anymore and it would make me look stupid. But she had done that all through her life. There was one time I took her to the doctor because I thought her leg was hurting, and then as soon as we got to the doctor she started walking normal. That was one of the most recent times, right before we hit the month and a half that has been the rough time, or maybe it's 2 months now. But anyway, yeah, so I would cheer her on in every way I could. I would just be like, she'd go poop and I'd be like, yay, you went poop. And, I'd be walking her on her sling and we'd be in the back. And if she had to take a rest, I'd tell her, we have all the time in the world, Bijou. Just relax, and I'd pet her little head. And there were certain places I didn't like her to lay down because I knew that there were ants in those areas and stuff like that. And I would try to keep her away from them, but sometimes she would just steer me over because she was very stubborn even when she was, sick or whatever. And I would tell her that all the time too. I'd be like, you're so strong, Bijou, because once she'd get going, she'd really start like trying to get herself where she had to go. I think to work up whatever she had to do was like poo or pee or whatever. And so what happened was, Saturday, like I said, was kind of a rough one. And well, it was in and out was what it was Saturday. And I had gone to do a show and I came back, and when I came back there was a definite point where I felt like she really let me know she was going, cuz I put her down so that she could drink water and she could sit up. um and I put my hand down cuz I would, help her drink water. I was helping her do everything and just making sure that she was steady. Sometimes I would test her and let her eat her food by herself, but she would just like lay down next to it and turn the bowl over basically and eat it out of there. I have video of it. But so when it came to water that night, I was like kneeling down behind her. And so I had my hands like on both sides of her basically. And she put her paw on my hand. And she really, really drank a lot of water, which she had kind of done a lot, but she really drank a lot of water. And then she just looked at me. And the way she looked at me was so like I could tell she was trying to say thank you because, she's seen everything I've been doing for her. And I don't feel like that was lost on her. I think she really did understand and appreciate that part, because I was doing everything I could possibly do for her. And, just in my heart at that moment, I did feel like, okay, this is her either saying a thank you, a sincere thank you, or thank you and goodbye. And so I was, you know, very sad, cuz I don't know what she was thinking, but I know what I felt, and that's what that felt like to me. And then yesterday, which was Sunday, she was still able to go potty, and it was even better because her little left back leg, she could get it to be out of her way so she could go potty, and she could almost like squat on it, but of course I was holding her with the sling. But she was doing better, so that was a good sign. But then she also had stopped eating. Like the last time she ate, I was feeding her with my hands, because she wasn't wanting to eat. And the night before Saturday night, she had only eaten half her food at one point. And so that really did bother me. But she had gone poop earlier, and so I felt good about that. So that's why I say it was up and down on Saturday. So then Sunday, when she didn't really want to eat, and then she would still eat treats though, and then I gave her a little piece of tortilla, just because, I wanted her to eat something, and I knew she likes these tortillas, but I never give them to her if it's regular because, one, she's on a diet, and two, there's a lot of sodium in tortillas. But, if I just give her a little piece, and I know that because I pretty much knew she's on her way out, whether it was going to be natural at home or it was going to be the way that it turned out. I knew she was on her way out. I wanted to believe otherwise, but I also felt like there was a little bit of her getting tired of me for that too, because I think she felt like I was putting pressure on her because here she is, this little being that knows that she's going somewhere. She may not know what it means but she knows she's going somewhere. And I could tell she doesn't want to let me down. She was very sad at different points, and I know that because I know my dog. And then I asked her last night because I went to the gym yesterday, and then there was a point when I told her I was going to go to the gym when we were laying together earlier yesterday, and she gave me a look like, are you crazy? And I thought she was going to die right then because she was just breathing really heavy. And But I can't leave her alone. So that's part of why I would leave, is because if I'm with her, I cannot stop touching her. I cannot stop kissing her because I know that it's going to be over soon. Like, that's done. So I might as well get all of it right now. And so, like, she would get tired of me because I'd just be kissing her and petting her. And sometimes she'd look at me like, stop touching my head or stop touching my neck. Stop, just leave me alone. And I get that. But she doesn't understand that she's the one leaving. So, of course, I fucking am the one going crazy. So I would go to the gym or do things that I had to do because I wanted to like leave her alone. Because ideally for me, what would have happened at that point would be I just go to the gym, I come home, she's gone, and yeah, I'm bummed about it, but she died here at home in her bed, comfortable surroundings, didn't have to go anywhere. That's what I would have wanted for her. But then last night I played a song. It's I think you think you're a man by Divine, and that's her song. That's the only thing in her life that she's ever howled at is that song, and it's been forever. That's been her song forever since she was a little puppy. And like I said, I've had her 11 years. It's the only thing that makes her howl is that song. And I was like, I want to, because she had lost her voice in the last month or so. Maybe the last 3 weeks she lost her voice. Like when we went to Phoenix, that was when I noticed her voice being gone. And she wouldn't bark. Dogs would get close or whatever, and I'd keep her away from dogs, which that part is a whole nother thing. Like I'd get mad at the weather. I'd get mad if the grass was wet. I'd get mad if other dogs came around. And it's because I had to keep her in a sling, and when other dogs came around, I would just hold her with me and not let her down, because I didn't want them to hurt her or mess with her or any of that. And I could feel her, like, kind of get her regular Bijou when another dog got close, where she'd be like, get away from me. So I would like really shelter her from other dogs, stay far away or as far away as I possibly could. That part I did a good job with. But so I played this song, and she did her little howling for me, but she wasn't able to fully sit up when she did it. She was just laying there kind of lifeless and did a couple howls for me. And it was a really fun moment for me, but it was also really sad because I knew, this is the last time, that one of the last times I'm gonna be hearing this, because I ended up playing the song twice just so I could hear her do it again. And she did it again, but a little more tired. And then she did it once this morning before we went to the doctors, but super tired now, and then I just laid with her for a while, and that happened quite a bit yesterday, where I was just laying with her. And then, sometimes she pant really hard. And that's the thing that makes me feel good about the decision I made, even though I can't help but second guess, because there is a part of me that wonders if, rather than going to the doctor, if she would rather have just died here at home, and done it the natural way. And maybe she would have loved me more and respected me more if I had done it that way. But I was searching, because I've searched everything on Google. Right now, my phone has so many tabs open that are all related to dogs and dogs dying and dogs in pain. And the thing I did last night was, when we were walking at a point after I came home from the gym, was I was taking her downstairs to go potty, and I have to carry her everywhere, obviously, and I don't mind any of that part. Like, I really felt honored, as silly as that sounds, but I felt honored to serve her. I really did. I loved taking care of her at the end. I just loved it. I was hoping she'd get better, but at the same time, I loved it. And so I was carrying her down, and I said to her, I was like, You just tell me what you want to do, Bijou. Because I know I'm getting on your nerves, and I know that I keep getting excited. Because, everything she did, I'd get excited. Like, we're going to do it, Bijou. You're going to get better. And that's where I feel like maybe I put some pressure on her. And it wasn't physical pressure. I wasn't trying to overexert her. Uh, but mentally, I think I was a lot for her because I just was trying to stay so optimistic and tried to just reassure her that this is going to be okay and this is temporary. And I know your foot, you can't feel it, but it'll come back. What's that little foot doing? What's that little foot doing? And I'd push it and like try to make it give me feeling or push back on my finger or whatever. And so I asked her, I said, just give me a sign, Bijou. Let me know what you want to do. Do you want to go or do you want to stay? If you want to stay, then I'll keep you. But if you want to go, I don't want to punish you, Bijou. I don't want to torture you. The last thing I want is you suffering. And keep in mind, I kiss her little belly every day. That's one of our things, Even when she's hurting like that, I would still get down low and I'd put my face like so it's lower than her laying down, and then I'd go belly, belly, and I'd kiss her belly. And I know she's still like that because, she liked that her whole life, and I would pet her belly. But like me kissing it, that was like our regular thing. And so I know her belly really well. And I looked at her belly, and this was as soon as we got downstairs, and there was this big lump on it. And I didn't know if that was like a tumor that had to have formed within the last like 12 hours before that, or if it was from some sort of bug bite, because the vacant lot that we have to go to, which I wish I had a better option, but that's the only place I could take her to go potty. That's the only place where it's even somewhat level, because if I go to the front, then it's the higher grass. And because of the way that her injury was, or, now I know that it wasn't an injury. It was really what's it called? I thought it was IVDD, which is a slip disc. But, it really, because, I just didn't want to believe it was a tumor, because IVDD you can fix, and if they have to get surgery, that is an option, but you can fix it at home too, for the most part, except for in very extreme cases. And I could see, like I said, she was starting to want to get up, and, I could see a little bit of movement in her foot. And I know that wasn't just me imagining it, because I would have to wipe her foot with the baby wipe. I bought baby wipes so that I could just easily clean her, because you don't want the urine scald like I told you guys about before. And so, when it's completely dry, and I would look to make sure that she goes potty, because I got to see, because she's a little dog, so you don't always catch it, if they're outside in the grass. And so, I asked her that, and then all of a sudden I saw that mass, whatever it was, whether it was an insect bite or tumor, because I looked online and it said that some tumors can take a while to develop and some will literally develop overnight. That is 100% what it said when I searched, how long it takes for a tumor to form on a dog. And so then I called my friend D, the one with DJ Lindy. So I called her, and she suggested that I make a baking soda paste and rub that on it. And that should take out the toxins and, reduce any swelling if that's what it is, if it's a bug bite. So I went ahead and did that immediately, like not even a second later. I have that's why you see baking soda right here. I can't do it right there. That's the baking soda right there. Which I don't know who seals baking soda and why they seal it that way, but it was tough for me to open up that top of the baking soda. It's one of the ones for the refrigerator. But so I made a paste, and I spread it on her and stuff like that. But I just felt so bad because there's nothing I can do about that. There's so many bugs out here. This is Texas and it's, humid. And like I said, the grass is wet sometimes. And I would take a towel out every time and I'd put the towel down and then I'd like put the sling on top of the towel and then I'd position her over the sling and then I'd tell her sit right here or lay right here depending on what kind of day she was having, and then I'd pick her up with the sling and then we'd take off walking. But I wouldn't take the towel with us, which hindsight is 2020, but at the same time, it's what it is. Like there's you being a human being and taking care of your dog, and then there's like you feeling like you should have been perfect, which I'm always going to struggle with when it comes to the way that I handled the one thing that I loved the most in my life, because that is undeniable. I really do love Bijou more than I loved anything in my whole life. Thank God I'm recording. It just hit me that I didn't check at the beginning, but I'm just paranoid about that because I have done that before where I've been on a good roll, and which I don't know if this is a good roll or not. I just know I'm talking because, like I said, I had to, because I do have feelings of guilt. But like what I was saying about the cheesy name for this, dying with Dognity, is just something I thought about, because if you think about it, dogs don't really have a lot of things that they can be proud of in a way, if that makes sense. Because, their life is pretty chill as long as they are cute and they, do dog things, then life is great. But one of the things that Bijou seemed to always pride herself on was she did not go potty in the house. When she started getting older, she would use her litter box, but I'm convinced, because she didn't start using it until Lindy came around, and I'm convinced that she was doing it because she knew that she had to show him where to go potty because he had had a couple accidents, and she was like, not in my house, you aren't going to be doing that. I'll show you exactly by putting my scent over here, because you know how the dogs are, especially the boys. If a dog pees somewhere, they're going to go pee over it. And instinctually, I think she knew that. And so she was like, let me show this newbie where he's got to go pee. And so she would use her box inside. And I was always happy for that because I just wanted her to be comfortable. It's such a huge thing with me, her going potty. And I think that's because it was a huge thing for her with me. It was one of the ways that she would take care of me the most, was when I had to pee. And because sometimes I'll be on a roll working on my computer doing editing, and I'll want to pee, have to pee, but I'll be holding it. And I guess just being connected to me the way she was, she would sense that at a point, and she'd come over and just start hitting my leg, just start jumping against my leg. And I started to read it. This is early into having her. I started to read it as her being like, you got to go potty, you got to go potty, you got to go potty. And I would always tell her, let's go potty, Bijou. Even if you don't want to, when she was full health. I didn't do this when she was, what's it called, except for times when she would really be holding it. But when she was full health, I would tell her sometimes, I'd be like, nope, it's been too long, Bijou. Let's go outside and go potty. You'll feel better, trust me. And she would always go potty. As soon as I took her outside, she would always go potty. But she could have held it if I hadn't, because she had told me no. And so that was one thing that I think she really did pride herself on, was she don't have accidents. She ain't that kind of girl. And so that was one of the things that I worried about the most. And I'll be honest with you guys and tell you, I'm not going to go into graphic detail, but there was a glove and lube. I'll tell you that much. And I tried to help her because I didn't think she had pooped. I thought she had taken too long to poop, or, it was too long between poops. And I asked the doctor how to do it, and he showed me and told me, but she would not do it. Even when I, had her in her litter box and like laid her on her side and did everything the way that I was supposed to, she wouldn't do it. I just kept poop on my finger. But she wouldn't actually poop. And she would look at me like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I was gentle. I wasn't, I really loved this girl so much. And I just wanted her to be comfortable. And I thought maybe she was holding in poop because it had been so long. And, I was wrong. Both times I was wrong because I did it twice. And the second time I was like, you're right, Bijou. I'll never do this to you again. I'm trying my best. There was a lot of me trying my best to do certain things, where I just wanted her to be as comfortable as possible because I knew that she would not have an accident in the house. And that's part of why I took her, because there was a part of me that thought, like I said, maybe I should just let her die here at home and I'll just hang out here at home for the next couple of days and let her do what she has to do. But last night she started panting a lot, and then we were able to go to sleep. I took her to bed with me because I had been having her in her bed, because the whole thing was, if she had IVD, I needed her to recover, right? So I needed her spine to recover. So that means that she has to be as immobile as possible. And so, I needed these things to work out a particular way, was what it was. And so, when last night I knew that, it was not going the way that we wanted to. Because when the vet told me last week that, she told me the reasons that she thought it was a tumor, and it all made sense. And I wish I hadn't gone to that vet. And I appreciate, my friend hooking me up with her. It was the acupuncture vet. But at the same time, it did a lot to hurt my morale, as far as, I thought we were doing so good. And then I took her and they gave me that news. And maybe I would have rather not had that news and just continued to work like we were working. And that's like one of the places that I regret, or I feel like I let us both down, is because I heard that and it got in my head. And then I was like, damn it, I was not. And then she told me the reason she didn't think it was IVDD. And so, it's a rough one. And so, uh, last night I had her sleep in the bed with me, and she would wake up and she'd just start panting. And, I'd feel her wake up and move, and I'd right away grab her, and so she didn't like scoot herself off the bed or whatever, and I'd right away grab her and just, try to calm her down. And there was a point where she was panting really hard before we went to go to bed. It's one of the reasons we went to bed, was because I thought maybe that would calm her down. I thought maybe she was having a panic attack of some sort. And so I picked her up like a baby, and I was rocking her, and I was, really consoling her. And it seemed to help somewhat. But then when I put her down for us to be in bed together, she started panting really hard again. And then there was a point where she fell asleep. We both fell asleep together after she calmed down. And then, like I said, she woke up a couple of times in the middle of the night and was panting. And, I was very supportive of her even while that was happening. But, I and then when we were listening to music, I could tell that, I think she was getting close to going. That's why I went ahead and had them do it. A part of it was because I also could tell that she didn't want to go. And so she was trying to keep herself awake, like there were points where when we were laying down listening to music, she would like kind of doze off, and then she'd like wake herself up. And I think it's because she knew she was getting close to that edge, where she was going to slip. And so I kissed her a lot. I told her how much I loved her. She gave me a real barrage of kisses. That was what she did after she said the thank you, with her eyes just staring me in my eyes after she put her paw on my hand with the water. She really gave me just she attacked me with kisses just a lot. And, in regular life, there was times where she would kiss me and I'd be like, Bijou, enough, because she'd go crazy kissing me. And I would do the same to her and she would give me the enough too. We lived a real life together in that way where we would be like, stop being rude. You're being gross. You're being too gay right now. And so, but at this point, for the last several weeks now, anytime she kissed me, I just let her kiss me as many times as she wanted to. If she wanted to kiss me right on the lips, as many times as she wanted to. She'd kiss my nose a bunch of times. And like, she really was being a sweetie, like at that point last night, she attacked me a couple of times, just kisses. And so, but I knew between the both of us that she would never die. She would just keep, and I don't mean that in a good way, because if I could make it so she never died and keep her happy, healthy, then I would do that. But to have her be just holding on to life just for the sake of holding on to life, and almost all of the joy has been sucked out of it except for pets and kisses. And even that is getting too much for her, then where are we? And this is going to sound weird that I say that, but also she's so cute that even when she's dying, she's cute. When you're watching her just, and her little eyes close, it just looks like, she's getting ready. She's a puppy getting ready to take a nap again. And there was one point on Saturday night when I looked at her, because, so many emotions and things happen, and it's almost borderline supernatural when that kind of thing happens. I found out, because I've never been this close to another being in my life, and especially when they're towards the end. I've never been that close. I mean, I've had a few family members or friends have a sudden where they're gone, but I never was like watching something go through the last phase. And one thing that happened was there was a point where she even looked younger, like her little face looked like a puppy again. And so I knew that more than likely I would have to have her put down, because if not, we would both just keep her hanging on to life after it was all done, but because neither of us wanted to actually say goodbye. And so the plan was to wait till Thursday. That's the way I felt about it. But I also felt like she wasn't able to get comfortable sleep, and I was seeing her move around a lot. And I did read that in the final phases, they can't take care of themselves. Like once it gets past, the not eating and stuff like that, they can't even get up to go potty. So at that point, you're supposed to put, and I don't know if this is the way all of them do it. They said that it's different for everything, but at some point you're supposed to put like a potty pad under them or something that's absorbent, and then they'll just go potty on themselves basically, and then you clean them up, and then you keep turning them over for, so they don't get bed sores. But it also said after they stop eating that it could take 3 to 5 days for them to fully go. And I was just like, so what? I'm just going to let my dog be in pain or misery for 3 to 5 days, just laying there lifeless, waiting for the last to leave. And I know I could have chanced it and just been like, maybe she'll just end up slipping into sleep and it'll be done. But I didn't want to take that chance. And I felt like she deserved to go out without having to go potty on herself, without having to go potty in the house, without having to break her own rules. And I would do anything for her. So if she had, in her last stage, gone potty on herself, I'd give her a full bath. I don't care. I would do anything for her. But does she want that? And she may think she wants to die at home, but maybe the reality wouldn't be something that either of us want. Because for me, ideally, yeah, that would be perfect for me to say, I personally saw her through to the end. I personally just did that myself. But can I watch something I love this much just suffer if it gets that kind of rough at the end? And so when I woke up this morning and now she didn't even want treats and she didn't want cheese. And I tried cheddar, I tried American, I tried the treats. I really was, really hoping today was going to be a good day. But, and we just like, I also do believe in signs and synchronicities. And so when I look at my phone, because I was like, let me call the vet and see. And you know how the vets are. Usually it will be at least the next day. It's not usually day of appointments. I've asked for day of appointments. And like I told you guys, one time I stormed the office. And I didn't do it in a rude way, but I did come in and just like, is there any way you can see my girl? Because we're having some problems right now. This was a couple weeks back. I told you about it. But yeah, so usually it's not that day. And so I looked at my phone when I took her outside and I saw the way it was going, and I saw that they had just opened, when I looked at Yelp to check their hours. They had just opened. So I immediately called them, and a lot of times at this vet, because it's a clinic, it's the so it's not like one of the fancy ones or whatever, but they do everything the way that they're supposed to. Um, but she they don't usually answer the phone at certain points, like I usually have to call a couple of times. It's on the Yelp reviews. I knew it when I first started using them. And so I, called and they answered right away. And I told them, hey, I have an appointment for Thursday at 9:30 a.m. for, what's it called, for euthanasia. Is there any way we can move that appointment as soon as possible? And then the guy said, we have today at 10:30. And so I made the appointment for 10:30. I took Bijou down again to see if she had to go potty. Because she, said she had to go potty at first. And then I took her down and she didn't go potty. And then I asked her again if she had to go potty, after I took a shower. And she said yes. She licked my nose. And so I took her down to go potty. And then she didn't go potty again. And that also made me feel like this was the right decision, because I was like, if she's going to be uncomfortable and not even be able to go potty, I don't want my girl having to go through that. I don't want her to not be able to go potty, not be able to go poop a last time if that's what she has to do. She's just going to be laying there miserable, full of poop and potty, or have to pee herself, which I really don't think she would do until after she had passed. I think once her body just takes over, nature's going to be nature. But as far as her, whenever she's conscious, she's not going to allow herself to do that. And that means she's dealing with even more misery in her final moments, her final hours, her final days even. And so, like I said, there is a part of me though that feels a little guilty, because I do feel like now, that it's done, because this is 8:15 p.m. and it happened at 10:40 is when she officially got the injection, because first they come in and they give her the sedative and that makes her sleepy. And so once that took over, then she goes to sleep, and then they come in and then they do one that's in the actual vein, because they just do one in the muscle at first, a regular injection, then they go in the vein, and then they actually put in the stuff, and then that's when it travels from the vein in the back leg to the heart. And once it gets there, then she's done. And so I was there for all of it. I sat with her, I held her the whole time, I was kissing her all over her face, and I kissed her belly. And then Then the doctor said she was done, and he was like, "Can you move out of my way so I can check her heart?" And then he checked her heart, and it was done. And then he was like, "I can give you a little while if you just want to, say your goodbyes." And I said, "Yes, please." And then and then I put my ear to her heart and was just listening, because I would do that a lot, in the last part of her life, because I knew that it was going, and so I'd listen and try to hear it. And so when it's gone and I'm just there with her body, I knew she wasn't there anymore, but I was just there with her body, and I kissed her belly, I kissed her belly, and I took a couple pictures. Just, I wasn't trying to be weird, but at the same time, it's the last time you're gonna see it. In this lifetime, that's the last time I'm gonna see that little person. That's the last time I'll be in the presence of my baby. And so I was kissing her a lot. I hugged her. I put her Mr. Bill on her and took a picture with Mr. Bill on her, because he's been with her through her whole life. He's Mr. Bill. I one day was in Fry's grocery store in Phoenix, Arizona, when me and Bijou were, that's when Bijou lived with her other daddy for that 4 months we never talk about. But, because I bought her for an ex, like I said, and so she stayed with him for the first 4 months. And, yeah, during that time, one day I was at the grocery store, which Fry's is the big grocery store in or one of the big grocery stores in Phoenix, and Fry's Food and Drug. And I was in a Fry's, and I walked down the aisle, and I saw that Mr. Bill, and it said, "Oh no." And I was like, "This is cute. I'll get this for Bijou." And then she fell so in love with that toy, and it became the only toy she ever played with. And so I still have her first toy over there. I brought that out for while she was going through this time. It's always been around, but she never plays with it. But she has a connection with it. Um, and so I took a picture with her and Mr. Bill, and let Mr. Bill say his goodbye to her. Even though she has four of them, I could only take one. Only one got to be the real honoree. And then she has a brand new one in there, because she was supposed to last me forever. I was going to buy more Mr. Bills, because I wanted her to always have one for the rest of her life. And, she'll keep them forever until she one day tears them apart, which she did to a few. But for the most part, she tries to keep them. They're her friends. I don't know what the other ones that she ripped up did to her. Lindy had at one, but I think she talked to him when I was gone one time. I was like, "Hey, that's my toy," because at a point he knew not to mess with the Mr. Bills. And so, I second guess. So I was like, maybe she was panting because she was telling me that was the end of her life, and that was her signal, like, to just let her do what she has to do. And she had the labored breathing in between the panting. And then I looked online, I googled it just to see if panting is what happens at the end of life. And it is. But panting is also the most like one of the most sure signs that your dog is going through pain, if they haven't just finished exercising or they're not thirsty. And obviously during this time she hasn't been exercising. And so I really felt like that was her telling me. And also when we were at the doctor's office, like, she had gone pretty completely limp. Even when I had brought her upstairs from trying to go potty outside, because like I said, she wasn't able to go potty, and she was just laying down in the grass at a point, and I didn't want her to get more bites, because whatever that is, whether it's a tumor or a bite, I felt so bad about it. And I also thought about that. I was like, what am I gonna do? keep taking her outside and letting bugs eat her up because she can't move, because she has to rely on me, and I can't see what's underneath her. I can't see what's in the grass. And sometimes you see wasps and bees flying around and stuff like that. I don't know what's out there. And so what? I'm just going to let bugs eat her alive and her have bug bites all over her while she's in her last days. And so, I couldn't do that to her for my own ritual, because that's what it becomes when you're like, I've got to make sure that it happens in this particular way, and she's going to do it at home. And yeah, I did want her spirit to be here, but I feel like her spirit will always be with me because we did have a connection like that. Like, I have a friend on Instagram that I don't even know by their actual name. I just know their Instagram name. But they always say stuff like, me and Bijou were from a past life. We definitely have been together before. And I really do feel that. I really do feel like me and Bijou had a connection that I don't think I'll ever find with another human being. And I don't think I'll ever find with another animal unless Bijou decides to reincarnate into another Chihuahua or something similar and find her way to me that way, which I wouldn't put it past her to do. And if that ever does happen, I will snap that animal up right away. But it's not anything I'm looking for. If you guys know anything about me, I do let things like that just kind of happen. Like, Bijou was 100% spontaneous, but at the same time planned event where I knew that because my ex wanted a dog, I was going to get him a dog. And I knew that it was going to have to be within a certain time frame, but I wasn't sure when in that time frame it was going to fall. And then we just happened to be driving one day, and I saw a sign across the street while we were at a red light, and it was a guy with a box, and it said puppies for sale. And so I said, hey, there's puppies for sale right there. Let's go check them out. And then we went to check them out, and I asked him what it was, what kind of dogs they were, and he said Chihuahuas. And then my ex was like, that's a gay dog. A little Chihuahua is a gay dog. And then I was like, let me see him. And he went ahead and pulled out the first one, and that was Bijou. And she was little and brown and cute, like me. And I put her in the palm of my hand, and she fit there. She was tiny, tiny at the time. And she was supposed to stay tiny like that. She outgrew that. But she was tiny, and I was just like, yeah, I want this dog. How much is she? And he was like, $50. And I'm a person that doesn't usually carry cash on me, especially back then. I just usually everything I swipe for. And so I just happened to have it. And at first I was going to be like, oh, I don't have cash on me. And then I remembered that I had been paid in cash the night before. Had done a Gabriel Iglesias show the night before. That's when I was working with Gabriel. And so I had done a Gabriel Iglesias show the night before. And this was on Cinco de Mayo. This is how Mexican Bijou is. It's Cinco de Mayo. I had done a Gabriel Iglesias show. That's where I got the money from. And so I had the $50. I had more than that, but I had the $50 on me, and so I gave the guy $50, and then we immediately went to PetSmart, and I think we spent $200 and some dollars. Well, I spent $200 and some dollars there buying Bijou a bunch of stuff, a bed and she needed a ferret collar because she was so tiny. And it had a bell on it so we could hear her because she was little and I didn't want to kill her. I was so scared I was going to step on her. I'm so glad she got as big as she did, because when she was little like that, I was afraid that I was going to hurt her, that I was going to stomp on her by accident, or, if somebody would fall on her or whatever. And so I was very happy with everything, the way that she turned out. And she's the best thing ever in my life. But what I was saying is, if one day I see an animal and it just looks like it's the new Bijou, who knows? It might not even be Chihuahua. But if that ever happens, then I'll definitely go with my instincts. But I don't think I'll be ready for that for a long time, because I think Bijou really is such a good dog that I think that she was leaving my life to clear me of any responsibilities, of anything that would keep me from just doing whatever it is I have to do, as far as put out as much content as I possibly can. Uh, I might go back on the road. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not feeling, what's it called? I'm not feeling midlife crisis about this, or like I'm going through something existential where it's like, I don't know what I am if I'm not Bijou's dad. I know what I am. I know who I am. I just know that I had a different plan than this little dog or God or the universe, but I have always said God's plan is better than mine. So I will clean it up and I won't be crying for you guys all the time. You see, now I'm doing good. I know privately I will have moments, and that'll probably be for the rest of my life that I will have moments. And on every episode, unless I just forget because I'm stupid, but I doubt I will, on every episode, we are going to start off by summoning the spirit of Snoopy Bijou, because Snoopy Bijou really was the most unbothered thing I've ever met in my life. That's why she was the face of everything. And I might go back to using her as the face of everything, because she just really was, even when it came to me, the most unbothered little thing ever. I'd come home, she would stay where she was at, she wouldn't come to the door and greet me, ever, unless she was mad at me because I had been out too long, and then she'd come yell at me and just let me know, like, this is unacceptable. You were gone for too long. I'm a dog. I don't have any concept of time. And I know you were gone for a long time. So that's how long you've been gone. And so, and I there's a lot of things that I'm going to have to start taking care of myself on, because she did regulate me in a lot of ways. She would make sure I would eat. But, because I was taking care of her, I really haven't eaten that much for the last 2 days at all. I've had like tortilla and I've had like, stuff like that. But for like the last 2, maybe 3 days, I really haven't eaten that much. So today, after I was done doing her thing, I did go to Golden Corral and I ate pretty good, and so I know that Bijou will always take care of me, and I know that she'll always be watching over me, and I know that in my heart I did everything the best way that I could. So even if it wasn't exactly what she thought she would have wanted, then I don't feel bad about that, because her leaving me wasn't what I wanted. And so we're even, Bijou. Every once in a while, when you come for me, I'll go right back for you. And you should already know that, being my dog, even though she never saw that side of me. Because, let's see, did we ever really get into it? I don't think. When she was a puppy, we had a few moments where she would try to big dog me a little bit. But, there's certain tricks with chihuahuas, like if you put them on their back and hold them there until they surrender, that's a way that you break them. And you do it in a nice way, but you just let them know that you are in charge. And so I learned that when Bijou was little. I read it in a book. And so, and if you do it right, they eventually feel very comforted by it. Like, it's one of the last things I did at the vet. I have a picture of it, but I won't share that because it's too personal to me. Like, she's pretty close to gone. It's before she got her shot, where they did the first shot, because they do the first shot, they leave for 10 minutes so that the shot can set in, and then they do the second one. And so there was a point, though, where it was just me and her, and I just laid her on her back, and I was petting her belly and just, letting her know it was going to be okay, and that, it's time for her to go. And she had done everything for me that she could do, and she was better than I could have expected, and I'll never love anybody more in my life. And, she never has to worry about me, because I'm going to take care of myself, even though I'm going to be very, very sad without her, and I'm not going to like life for a little while. I'm sure I'll find things to like, but for now, what I gotta like is cleaning this apartment, because I have let it become a mess in here because I was just taking care of that little dog. And I'm going to throw everything away the way that I should, and I'm going to store the things that I should store too. I'll, keep some of the cages and things like that, because I want to leave myself open to loving again. You know, one day I'll have another dog, and also one day I'll have a house. So I need to have stuff to put in the garage. I need to have stuff to have in a storage room, you know, in the house. And so I'll keep some stuff, and some stuff I'll get rid of. I'll be healthy about it. I don't think I'll ever get rid of her baby bed. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of the bed that she died in, or you know, the bed that she spent her last, not even day really is what, but that bed was her regular bed. It's the same color as her, and yeah, she'd be in that bed a lot. And so I don't think I'll get rid of that one. The other ones I'll probably, you know, throw away or maybe give to Goodwill. I don't know. But like I told you guys, I will be more upbeat coming up. And I really want to say, and I know this is the end of the episode, so hopefully you guys didn't tune out by now. But I do want to say a very sincere thank you to all of you for not only the super thanks and, you know, joining for memberships and stuff like that, which if you have a chance and you haven't joined yet, get a membership to my channel. It says join right below this, and this isn't meant to pitch. I just might as well say it since I'm doing it. But what I want to thank you guys for is everybody that gave me hope, and everybody that told me their stories, and everybody that told me about even the heartbreak that they had in certain situations. All of it, all of it, all of it, I did and do appreciate. And I will get to responding to all of the comments on YouTube from last week. Just, you know, it's been a rough week. This one has been a rough one, and I think you guys can understand why. But I do want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for everything that you guys have sent my way. You know, the prayers, the thoughts, the hugs, virtual hugs. I mean, like it. I really do believe in that stuff, and I do believe in the power of positive energy. And I feel like you guys helped me have Bijou for longer than maybe she otherwise would have been around, you know, by sending all your guys' energy and thoughts. And so next week we will be truly unbothered. I will put out an episode next week, and we'll see how it goes, because, you know, I might be ready to take a break from talking about my feelings for a little while, and it might be healthy for me to um, just step away from the podcasting part and just put out regular videos on topics. But you let me know down in the comments what you guys want me to talk about, and maybe that'll give me some ideas. But in the meantime, stay unbothered.